panelists and candidates who are here today. We're excited to host this forum. And I just want to say that now more than ever, local journalism is incredibly important. And as Evanston prepares for its upcoming elections, the Daily Northwestern, the Evanston Roundtable, and Where the People Meet TV are really dedicated to providing accurate and engaging and transparent coverage. So we're really looking forward to this forum today and getting to talk about and ask questions about the issues that matter the most to Evanston.
And hello, can you all hear me? Okay. I'm Malika Gardner with Where the People Meet, and thank you, Lily. I called her up and said, let's organize a forum. It's crucial right now. And I wanted all the media to get together to really do this. And the roundtable said, we'll come on as panelists. So it's important that we get the right information out. So thank you so much for working with me on this. Thank you. The stakes are definitely high right now. And across the country, we see things shifting in policy, in power, in leadership. And Evanston is the same thing. We have a lot of shifting taking place. And some people see it as progress, and they're excited for what's to come. And then others see this shifting as a serious concern. So whether you agree with it or you don't agree, you support, you don't support, the point is it's leadership that matters. It matters. And this property that we're on right now, the history of this property, think about the leadership. Black families lived on this property. They had homes. It was the leadership back in what, 1930? 1929. The leadership decided they wanted this land. So they literally picked up the houses from the ground and moved them to the 5th Ward. That's how powerful leadership is. That's how powerful it is. And that's how powerful elections are. Because guess what? It can happen again. Might be happening right now, it just doesn't look the same. So we gotta pay attention, we gotta stay engaged, we gotta stay informed. And so I thank my media crew, friends here, Heidi Randhava helping us out, my partner in crime, Don here, Percy, my mom, everybody, and all of you for coming out, because you could have been at the Super Bowl, watching the Super Bowl. But you put Evanston first, and that speaks volumes, and I thank you. So listen closely to all the candidates, the questions, and we will be coming out to get questions from you to ask the candidates. And thank you to the candidates. They're all coming at their different times. Thank you for all you do, and thank you for coming and take the tough questions from the panelists and the residents. Thank you so much. So we're going to get started and get this ball rolling. For sure. So we have the 4th Ward now, Incumbent Councilmember Jonathan Nieuwsma and his opponent, Meg Welch, who is a write-in candidate Okay, if you guys want to take 30 seconds to tell the people who you are.
People in my ward have told me they do not feel their concerns are taken seriously by the city or by my opponent. And just to give you a little taste of who I am, I'm raised a child as a single parent. I moved here 11 years now. I started out as a renter. Then I was able to purchase a modest home in Evanston. Then I went to being a landlord. And my professional background is I work for the federal government, for the Social Security Administration. I have written policy. I interpret federal regulations. And I also apply them, though, to real-world people who are applying for disability. So I have skills that make me, analytical. That the details in texts, in ordinances, how things are written, is my skill. And I'm also a systems thinker, and I got that from my background in philosophy. I have a doctorate in philosophy and ethics. But then I use that, though, to go into government, into public service. And so I'm concerned that there's a trend in Evanston where there are abstract ideas that really sound great in the abstract, but their intended effect in the concrete is not sort of as built, or how they're really going to be fleshed out in the concrete is not taken into account and is not planned for. And there's a real, I think our city is going, it's
Time. Thank you.
Seconds, right? Okay, show the timer now. I'm Jonathan Nieuwsma. When I ran for city council 4 years ago, I talked about the 4 E's for the 4th Ward of Evanston. I talked about equity, talked about engagement, I talked about economic development, and I talked about environmental sustainability. And I'm really proud of the work we have done as a community in these 4 areas over the last 4 years. And I'm running again so we can continue doing that work. And I'm adding 2 more E's to my spiel this time around. I'm adding experience and effectiveness. And I look forward to earning the vote of all the 4th Ward residents in the room. And those not in the room, I see at least 2 4th Ward residents. Who else is 4th Ward here? So, all right, 4th Ward in the house.
Okay, so you're going to ask each other a question? 30 seconds? 30 seconds to respond.
Sure, I will ask Meg a question. Meg, nice to see you again. Nice to see you at the ward meeting on Tuesday. Nice to have you back in town. I guess my question for you is, do you prefer to be called Dr. Welch?
No, I do not prefer to be called Dr. Welch. I don't find that, I'm not in academia. I was an adjunct professor at several local colleges, Loyola University Chicago, Lake Forest College. I taught at Oakton for a while. I taught ethics, women's studies, introduction to philosophy. But no, I don't, and most people are startled to find out that I have a doctorate because I don't use it, I'm not in the field where it's being used. So I don't feel that I need to rest on my laurels in that way. Just a second here, if I may. So there have been some unpopular measures like vacating the Civic Center and taking on a $38 million, at last, that may be more now, to move the Civic Center to downtown Evanston. that were conducted by a special order of business, which is, suspending the rules and passing a measure in one meeting. And residents were largely unaware of this and largely in disagreement. And for people who have lived here a very long, a long time, or not that long actually, this flies in the face of a referendum where 80% of residents disagreed with this approach. Finally, the negotiation of the lease was found to be in violation of the Open Meetings Act. And there was a ward meeting last winter where I expressed my concerns to you after a ward meeting about 909 Davis lease, and at that time you indicated that it really seemed that people who were against the move to 909 Davis, that lease, also were against staying in the Civic Center. And so I would like to know, do you have an open mind about whether or not we should renovate the Civic Center, if we should stay at 909 Davis, or was your mind made up even back then? And why should the people on the council who voted for this be re-elected with this kind of approach that many residents feel like just pushed through, that it was decided for us?
If I am understanding the question correctly, it's what do I think about the Civic Center and what do I think about 909 Davis and the process that kind of got us there. You had a comment about special orders of business. I don't necessarily see a problem with special orders of business in and of themselves. That's a way of putting something on the agenda, letting the public know that we're going to be having a discussion in public. And I think that's what happened in this case. The future of the Civic Center, as Councilmember Suffredin mentioned earlier, is not looking good. The future of 2100 Davis is not looking good. I understand there was a referendum passed more than a decade ago that said, should we stay in the Civic Center? And the answer was yes, but there was also the question of, should we pay anything should we pay for that building to be maintained and upgraded? The answer was no. So we're at a point now where the current building at 2100 Ridge is just not suitable for the needs of a city in the 21st century. And my mind has been open all along to alternatives, keeping in mind what's best for the community, what's best for the residents, what's best for the people who work in that building, what's best to be able to provide the services we need, and certainly the cost of being able to maintain a building is very primary, one of the primary considerations. And so my mind has been open all along to how can we accomplish these various objectives in the best way possible. And it's coming to City Council on Monday, not as a special order of business. It's under a city manager discussion. We're going to be having this discussion again. And if you look at the numbers that are in the packet for Monday, it clearly shows that staying at 2100 Ridge just does not make financial sense.
10 seconds.
And so we're going to have to move forward. My current inclination is to see how 909 Davis feels and not make any decisions long term until we've been there for a while.
Okay, I have a question about Envision Evanston. One of the proposals in the rezoning was to allow buildings in some parts of downtown of any height, and there's some certain kind of conditions for that to happen. But there have also been several proposals lately to build more towers, such as one that occupies the current space of the Chili's. And this is kind of more of a broader downtown question, but what sort of development vision do you have for the downtown district? Both of you, and 60 seconds each, please.
So we need to try something different downtown. This building in, this unlimited planned developments with unlimited height, population downtown, it's not working. And I really think that we need to have some hard conversations about what it is going to take to bring traffic downtown. We need an appealing downtown. And I think if it looks like Edgewater and Rogers Park, I moved from Edgewater. This is nothing to, I'm not casting, aspersions on that neighborhood. But I moved to Evanston because I wanted to live in a suburb. And personally, not just personally, I would really like to take a stand and say there's nothing wrong with wanting to live in a suburb. And it's not a dog whistle to say that you want to live in a suburb. I happen to know a black woman who told me once that grew up here and said, we don't go south of Howard. Because they wanted, the suburb is, it's a little less dense. It's a little less noisy. It's a little more safe. And I don't think the high rises, adding high rises.
Time.
Thank you. I like the word, is this on? There we go. I like the word suburb, especially when there's a hyphen in it, sub and urb. And Evanston is in a location where we're between a huge urban environment in the city of Chicago, surrounded on our other sides by suburban suburbs without the hyphen. The tension we're talking about here has always been and will always be the creative tension in Evanston. How much do we want to be like Chicago? How much do we want to be like Wilmette? And when it comes to our plans for downtown, I think it's important to look at some actual numbers, and it's also important for the microphone to work. There we go. I think we're actually heading in the right direction downtown. I have the numbers here just so I'm not relying on faulty memory. Downtown retail vacancy. There we go. Retail vacancy maxed out at almost 15% at the height of the pandemic. As the end of last year, we were down to 5.3% retail vacancy. So the trend is heading in the right direction for businesses downtown. On the other hand, office vacancy is heading in the wrong direction. At the end of last year, we were at 18.9% retail vacancy, which is not as bad as the 25% or more in downtown Chicago. But the challenge for downtown Evanston is how do we bring people back to downtown who are not there in the offices like they used to be before the pandemic. They're not likely to come back anytime soon. And I think encouraging residential development downtown is one very important thing we can do to bring back some vitality to our downtown. What I don't want to have happen is downtown Evanston turn into what I observed when I went to downtown Champaign a few years ago. I went to school down in Champaign 30 years ago, was back on campus a few years ago, and I was just kind of astounded at how the development had happened in such a haphazardy, mishmash, kind of non-aesthetically appealing way. And I want to make sure that whatever we do in downtown Evanston kind of makes sense for our community.
Maybe I'll have better luck with this microphone. We'll see. Councilmember Nieuwsma, you mentioned retail vacancies, and one of the frequent issues that comes up along not only downtown but also other corridors and business districts is the difficulty of being a small business owner or retailer in Evanston. So question for both of you, what is working about doing business in Evanston, what isn't working, and what would be your priorities for supporting business owners in the coming term? You have 90 seconds.
Yeah, thank you. It is tough to be a small business owner in Evanston and anywhere. given the onslaught of e-commerce, it's tough to do business in Evanston. What we can do to make life easier for small businesses in Evanston is to make sure they have customers. We can make Evanston and Evanston's business districts attractive places to visit through investments in the main Dempster Mile, investments in Central Street, investments in downtown Evanston. This is the kind of thing we are doing through our SSAs and our TIFs, and we're investing a lot of ARPA money in placemaking to make our business districts enjoyable places to visit. We can support anchor institutions like Northlight Theater, breaking ground in the 4th Ward later next month. That's going to bring in thousands of people to downtown Evanston every month that will patronize not only that theater, but restaurants, bars, and other shops in the area. We have lovely business districts that are very successful on Central Street and Main Street because they're neighborhood business districts. They were not, designed and didn't evolve to support office workers. They are there to support neighborhoods. We do have a challenge downtown, and looking at downtown as more of a neighborhood is maybe a lesson we can learn from our own selves here in Evanston.
So we have a lot of new luxury planned developments with vacant ground floor retail space that are driving up the retail rents in downtown and pushing out our independent small boutique type retail. And in order to get foot traffic in Evanston, I really strongly believe we need to be distinctive. People can drive to Old Orchard and patronize chain stores, and the parking is better. So, and I also do not believe that it's just the pandemic or it's just the prevalence of online shopping that is the result, is the explanation for why our downtown economy is sluggish. We're not friendly. I really think I completely support the businesses associations that are asking for free parking Friday and Saturdays downtown for 2025. I know, if you go downtown and you want to spend 3 hours, you want to shop, and then you might want to go have dinner and not be rushed. You have to move your car. And, and also our small businesses like the dry cleaners, there's wine shops. Frankly, if you can wheel into a parking lot, get a space right away, you're not gonna go into it, you have to fight for a parking space and patronize that shop.
And we're just gonna have one resident question since we're kind of behind.
Hi, I'm Kelly Burke, and I've lived in Evanston for 36 years. And I've been promised a lot of things, like all the luxury buildings, it would maintain or keep down taxes. I was promised that they would take care of the Civic Center. I was promised that they would take care of the Art Center.
Having difficulty hearing you. Can you put the mic up? Put the mic up to your
Hi, I'm Queen. No, I'm Kelly Burke. I've lived in Evanston for a whole bunch of years, and I've been promised a lot of things. And transparency, blah, blah, blah. And I was told that years ago that history repeats itself. So we talked about the Civic Center a little bit. We talked about a little bit earlier about Crown. We talked about the library needing money. We talked about building. But where's the accountability? Where does the buck stop? And I'm all for smart development, but if we can't maintain our older buildings or my older body, how are we going to move forward in a healthy way And I liked what you said about being environmentally friendly. I don't see it. Thank you.
60 seconds.
Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to talk about environmental sustainability. And I guess one response is I'm glad you haven't seen it yet, because the work we've done so far to reduce our community's carbon footprint by almost 40%, maybe a little bit more, depending on how you count, has been relatively easy and relatively straightforward. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. One thing you can see if you drive past is an all-electric animal shelter, the first of its kind in the world. We do have coming to council, hopefully for final approval tomorrow, a healthy buildings ordinance, which will start us on a path of, or actually continue our community's climate action journey by looking at the emissions from existing buildings. We haven't made a dent in building-related emissions in the last 20 years. The Healthy Buildings Ordinance will put us on a path to do that in a fair and equitable way with a lot of stakeholder engagement. So I'll let Meg jump in here too.
So I have big concerns about the Healthy Building Ordinance, even though I completely support our CARB goals. So the Healthy Building Ordinance is kind of, at this point, throwing our churches, nonprofits, and large, our property owners under the bus. So it is, by 2050, expecting absolute zero carbon emissions, not net zero. So it means that these, and it's undefined. There's the metrics of it are undefined. There's recently been an update to it that says that the buildings can do an alternative compliance plan, and that is supposed to sort of assuage people's concerns, but it's very unclear what would be approved as an alternative compliance plan if you still are insisting on absolute zero for this healthy buildings, which means no carbon emissions. So even carbon credits, it doesn't seem would fit into that plan. And I just think that, we have to proceed very carefully here. We have property values at stake. It doesn't mean we can't get there, but I don't think it's fair to our churches, our nonprofits, and our building owners over 20,000 feet to not, the devil's in the details, we need to work it out before.
And now 30 seconds to each of you just to close it.
So again, I'm running because people encouraged me to, because the Fourth Ward residents do not feel often like their concerns are taken seriously. One question I was not asked, and I'm disappointed, is that I will be an advocate for affordable housing in Evanston. And I do not think that the current zoning ordinance as proposed is necessary for affordable housing. I really want to advocate for mixed income, limited equity developments, for all kinds of creative ways. We have a grant from the federal government. Hopefully we get the money now. But it is not necessary to change single-family zoning for us to get affordable housing, and I'm disappointed. Like our inclusionary housing ordinance allows developers now to put their units off-site. They don't have to put them in the building they're building. They can put them all on Howard Street. So how is this for everyone who's saying, shame on you NIMBYs, and we have an inclusionary housing ordinance that lets, that allows developers to not put it on site? And I'd like to know where the outcry is on that.
Not quite done. Thank you for the opportunity opportunity. Thank you for the members of our local press and thank you, Malika, for organizing this event. Like, this is democracy in action, and we can be an example for the rest of the country and the tone and civility of the conversation we're having here. Thank you, Meg, for engaging in this dialogue here. I have represented the members of the 4th Ward for 4 years, I think effectively, and I've done this by engaging. I think we're now at 42 or maybe 43 ward meetings. Being an alderman is tough work. It means listening to residents who have different points of view, listening to residents who want different things, and making the best call based on the information that I have, based on my own values, and doing what is right for Evanston. One of the toughest things about this job is sometimes having to say no to your friends and keep in mind what is best for the community of Evanston and best for the 4th Ward. So I look forward to serving again for 4 more years to continue the work on those 4 E's of equity, environmental sustainability, being an engaged alderman, and what was my last E? Economic development. Did I say that? I had them in order. But I'm going to add another E, which is everything else. It's not just your pet passions. It's just not your pet projects. It's stuff like making sure your constituents have a garbage can, or making sure their trees are being maintained. It's all this other stuff. So, love the job. Hope to continue doing it. Thanks.